Sir, can you just move out a little bit? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh,
No, I don't think I do.
Yes, so Attorney General Eric Holder, where is the justice for the men in Guantanamo? Where is the justice? These men have habeas corpus petitions since June 2008, when the Supreme Court gave them constitutionally guaranteed habeas rights. These men have been trying through a process of the law to be freed from Guantanamo. But you know, one of the things we should think about today is that there are over half the people in Guantanamo are Yemenis. And one of the problems with closing Guantanamo is that 58 of those men, although they have been cleared for release by the government, are still held, because this country regards Yemen as a terrorist nation. It says that even though it's cleared prisoners, they can't be released because they fear that they may embrace terrorism, or that they have been radicalized by their experiences. All manner of excuses to prevent men from being freed whose release has been recommended by the government. Now, the part the Justice Department has played in this is that there are 5 men in Guantanamo who have won their habeas corpus petitions. Does the government let them go? No. It appeals. It has appealed the successful petition of every Yemeni in Guantanamo. And I don't think that that's for reasons of justice. I think that that's for reasons of political maneuvering, because they don't want to release any Yemenis. What does justice mean when somebody wins their habeas corpus petition after 9 years at Guantanamo and is not released for naked political reasons? It means that the Justice Department is failing to do its job. So thank you all for being here today. Let's please keep up this pressure and educate ourselves about the many ways in which Eric Holder has failed to establish his independence, and the many ways in which he has failed the prisoners at Guantanamo. Thank you.
Almost 84.
Well, God bless you, Ruth.
Yeah, thank you.
So you've seen a lot of things happen.
I have.
Is it fair to say that you would ever live long enough to see where your government condones torture? Did you ever think you'd live to see that day?
I never did. I can't believe it. And I voted for Obama. I had a lot of faith in him. And he said on January 22nd, 2009, he's going to close Guantanamo, and they need to listen to all the wrong people and paid attention to them and did not close it. I'm sure he wanted to. I'm sure he is. But unfortunately, he got into office and got the wrong people around him. I don't know what he did wrong, but anyway, he's obviously gone wrong on this. And he's now suggesting indefinite detention for people who never did anything, no crime against us. 89 people in Guantanamo now, completely clear. Our government has nothing against them. And yet we were told by the Bush administration and by Obama, these are the worst of the worst. They're not. They're innocent men. And they're Muslims besides. And guess what this is doing to the rest of the world? giving a signal that America is not a just place. You can't get a fair trial there. So, of course, it's a recruitment tool for Al-Qaeda all the time. Every minute we keep anybody in Guantanamo.
Most of the Christian churches, and it comes from our Judeo-Christian heritage. It's from Isaiah, chapter 42. I'll shorten it, but I think we need to hear it. I, the Lord, have called you for the victory, not of law, not of custom, but of justice. I have called you for the victory of justice, to bring out prisoners from confinement, from the dungeon, those who live in darkness. I have been holding away, I've been looking back, keeping silent, holding myself in, but now I cry. As a woman in labor, gasping and panting, I will lead the blind on their journey. By paths unknown I will guide them. I will turn their darkness, their dark hoods, we might say today, into light before them. And I will make the crooked ways straight. This is a people, despoiled and plundered, all of them trapped in holes, hidden away in prisons. Thus Isaiah. They are taken as booty with no one to rescue them, as spoil, with no one to demand their return. Now, who of you gives ear to this? Who listens and pays heed? People, this is Isaiah giving us God's key question. In other words, who cares? Who cares? Who cares that this goes on? We do! We care. We demand the release of those hidden away in prisons, as Isaiah says. We demand their return. And we want to rescue not only them, but the soul of our nation. And that's why we're here today. Thank you.
We'll walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, Muslim brothers, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, Muslim brothers, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirit home.
We are not here to make angels out of prisoners. We don't know them, but we know that they are still men. And so we defend those who disappear under hoods and into jumpsuits, bringing back into the light every CIA black site, because right now there is a man under that hood. A brother breathing prayers of desperation, striking hunger so hard that his ribs are about to crack. In Afghanistan, in Guantanamo, in Iraq, there is a man under that hood who is being treated as less than human. His rights have been dismissed with the label terrorist, and just for saying this, you'll probably put my name on a list, but it's too serious for us to not resist. Mr. President, I need you to know that if it were you, hooded and chained, we will be right here demanding the same human rights for you. Mr. Senator, we would walk through these streets with your names on our back. We would fast in solidarity with your hunger strike, Mrs. Congresswoman. Even after months under black cloth making you cough, we would speak for you, Mr. Newsman, Mrs. Citizen. We'd be right here for you. Because human rights are universal. This is life, not a rehearsal. We are here because we cannot decide who is human and who is not. We cannot steal years of men's lives based on lies extracted from torture and bribes without becoming the greatest threat to ourselves. We have sat inside a cell, and it has taught us how wrong it is to cage men, to keep them because they fell like corpses into the category of enemy combatants. I will not act like nothing happened when it's happening now. I will not bow to injustice. I will speak for the change that was promised. I'm not ashamed to be honest, Mr. President. We have cried, Mr. President. Clouds of consciousness overflowing out these eyes, Mr. President. For the moments when we've had the courage to realize that there is a man under that hood. No matter how beaten and bruised, there is a man under that hood that is exactly as human as you. There is a man under that hood regardless of his religion. There is a man who doesn't understand why it's so hard for us to see him, why it's so hard for us to imagine what it would be like to be him there, where they sit in our prisons, hidden from our justice system, locked away. Are we gonna pretend they're less than men and just walk away? Or will we raise our eyes above the walls, where we raise our voices out to call out our government and say, we see you, we are watching what you're doing, and no matter how many times they call you terrorists, we will recognize that you are human. And to the detainees, no matter how broken and shattered and tortured you feel, there are people in these United States who hear you and see you, who know that you are real. And to the people of my country, please, do not pretend that we are seeking freedom or justice or any common good until we are ready to recognize the human rights of every single man under that hood.
What's your full name, sir?
Luke.
Luke?
Robert Nephew, aka Muhammad Al-Gharani.
And what's the name of your poem?
There's a man under that hood.
There's a man under that hood. Okay, thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
There's been no greater violation of the law than the utilization of torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment on the part of the United States. Who would have thought when you were a kid and you were taught that this was the land of the free, that that would happen in your lifetime? Who would have thought? And who would have thought that any Americans would acquiesce to it? Well, these good citizens have not acquiesced to it. They've not acquiesced to it. And we'll be back here again and again. We'll be back here again and again.